We are ready to start a new chapter in our reading course. We have completed the first section on informational text, so we are moving to the next section, which is this compare and contrast section. On page 31, this is the cover for this unit. So let's scroll over to page 32, and you have a page with two sections for graphics, but I'm going to zoom in and let's read about cats and dogs. I chose something very simple here, a subject that's very simple that we can all relate to. There are some facts in here that you may not know, but generally we all have seen cats and dogs, so this is a little bit easier to comprehend simply because we have background knowledge. That's why reading is so important. The more background knowledge you develop over your lifetime, the more you can comprehend new things. So let's take a look at this passage, and then I will go back and annotate. But I want to just read it through, and then we'll go back and mark. Cats and dogs. Cats and dogs are important parts of many homes and families. Both are mammals with 4 legs and a tail. They can live indoors or outdoors. Both are prone to fleas and require regular veterinary care. Cats have retractable claws that allow them to climb trees. Cats have slitted pupils and are often active hunters at night. Dogs have round pupils and non-retractable claws. Some dogs like to dig holes and bury things. Dogs are usually larger and are good for security. Cats are often more independent and do not interact as much with their humans. So, if we annotate, let me get a highlighter and green, in 3 words, what is this passage about? What is the topic of the passage? Well, if you said cats and dogs, you are exactly right. Okay. The next sentence that I normally look for is my main idea, the blue one. But I'm going to put that off for just a minute. Okay, and you'll see why here in a second. Let's go ahead and look at keywords in this one. Now, this passage is a little different than the ones we've studied so far. It does give information, but it's a very specific kind of information. What is the author doing? In this case, I'm the author. What was my purpose in writing this story? What am I trying to tell you about cats and dogs? And it's very tempting to mark that first sentence as the main idea, but it really isn't the main idea. This passage is used to compare, which means to show how things are the same, and contrast, which means to show how things are different. So the purpose of this passage is to tell you how cats and dogs are alike and how they're different. So with that in mind, I'm going to mark some key words. I have the word both. There it is again. And then it talks about cats, and then dogs, and dogs, and dogs, and cats. Okay, and then here it talks about cats and dogs. That's another way of saying both. So all I've done with my yellow pen is to mark cats and dogs and the word both. So anytime I'm seeing that, I'm counting those as key words for this passage. Because cats and dogs is in the topic, cats and dogs are in the topic, the word both refers to cats and dogs. So those are my keywords. They're giving me clues about the structure of this passage, especially that word both. That word is a very important keyword. If you see that in a passage, you're probably looking at some compare and contrast as part of the structure. Okay, so let me get my pink details color, and let's go through and mark the details. Cats and dogs are important parts of many homes and families. They're mammals. They have 4 legs and a tail. Can live indoors or outdoors. Both can get fleas and both require regular veterinary care. Cats have retractable claws that allow them to climb trees. They have slitted pupils and are active hunters at night. Dogs have round pupils and non-retractable claws. Some dogs like to dig holes and bury things. Dogs are usually larger and are good for security. Cats are often more independent and do not interact as much with their humans. So those are the details about cats and dogs. And you notice that I have not written the main idea. I haven't marked that blue sentence. In this particular passage, unfortunately, I hate these because I always wanted to see my main idea in writing. But sometimes the main idea is called an unstated main idea. And let's go ahead and write in this box for now. We're going to cover this up in time, but that's okay. So the unstated main idea. This is one of those passages that I have to come up with the main idea. Sometimes it just isn't given to me and I have to make it up myself. So I'm going to say the unstated main idea is something like this. We know our topic, which should be part of the main idea. Cats and dogs are alike. That's the both part. In some ways, and different in others. And generally, if your passage is a compare-contrast, this will be the main idea or something to that effect. So this time we had to write our own main idea and go ahead and put it in this box. Again, we're going to cover this up in time, but for now it's okay. It can sit there and wait for us. So the unstated main idea is that cats and dogs are similar. That's another way to say it instead of alike. Cats and dogs are similar in some ways, but different in others. They're not the same species, not the same animal. Okay, before we do our graphic organizer, which will go down here, I want to do the vocabulary with you so that you know what some of these words mean if you don't already know those. So I'll see you back in the next video and we will take care of our new vocabulary list. It isn't quite as long as the last chapter. So I will see you soon.